Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis. Here is my amazing co-host for Love Island USA. We have Tamika Francis in the house. How are you doing tonight, Tamika?
I'm good. I got my coffee in, ready to power through this episode.
I'm wearing glasses because I'm kind of tired. And I don't want to put contacts in right now, so the glasses are on. But if it's your first time here on Reality Realness, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Please follow us, subscribe, all that jazz, because we're trying to build a community of people that love reality TV as much as we do. So today we're talking about episode 9 of The Bachelorette. Now, we've been kind of wondering from the very beginning when the season was going on, we heard that it was cut short. And even now, we're already on episode 9. But next week is the shocking finale. Usually it goes to 12, 13, 14 with the men tell all, you know what I mean? So you said that you kind of called it from the beginning. What was that you called from the beginning?
That Greg is a terrible person. Okay, I'll backtrack. That Greg was going to leave early because first of all, I don't think he was that into Katie. I think he's manipulative. And that he was the reason why it was cut short. And we see here that's pretty much what it's looking like is happening.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us were just speculating if Greg is going to be the one that leaves. He's always was having some doubts. The fact that he was an actor, and I'm an actor, so it doesn't mean that actors can't go on these shows to find love and be sincere about it. But we were kind of wondering why it's not on any of his social media, and why, doesn't he talk about the fact that he went to, that's his university training or vocational training outside of secondary school. That's a big part of your life. It was, I think, a 2 or 4 year program. Why hasn't he spoken that he went to an acclaimed theater school? So
Right.
It's just very interesting that he kind of avoided some of these topics of conversation. And, we got B Bean in the house. Yeah, let's do this, B Bean.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So I was always just interested as to how he's going to leave. And there's been so many episodes of is he leaving this week? Is he leaving this week?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, anybody who didn't see this coming hasn't been paying attention. He has had, I feel, 1 foot out the door since episode 1.
Yeah. I mean, he never really, he always, remember she calls him having puppy dog eyes or sad face or resting sad face, I think he said. And I think that resting sad face is he's figuring out his exit strategy. He's how am I going to get out of here? I can't be the one. She's she's in love with me. I can tell. I can't be the one. And I know, and I think, okay, this is a hot take, guys. Sorry, Greg stands. But I think that he knows that she can't say to him what he needs for her to say. And that's why he says that she can't give him what he needs right now. He is out.
Right.
Pulling that cord. He's out of here.
I definitely agree. That's what I saw through this whole episode, because I was like, this is the show. This is not news. She, even if she wanted to, the producers want to hold that back until the very last episode that she tells the person she is in love with them. We knew Matt James was in love with Rachel from however long, but did he tell her? No. We knew that that's what he was saving for episode whatever it was at the end. Did we think he was going to get engaged? No. We think he was going to propose marriage? No. But he had to wait and tell her he loved her until the end. That is the show.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so I think that he was using that against her because he didn't want to propose. And it makes him look as though he's this honest and noble man. But okay, we're going to get back to this because let's go through all the other dates that were completely unimportant. But they did show us. So we get to, Blake has the first one-on-one date, and he's going to be bringing all things Canada to wherever they are right now. I can't remember where they are.
New Mexico.
New Mexico, right. And you can hear the Canadian national anthem playing in the background. And I swear they make Canada's look so lame.
I got so scared. I was like, no, not this again. Didn't we have enough last season with this stupid bring Canada to a non-Canadian location? I was like, please just don't have poutine. Just don't do the poutine. That's all I asked.
Exactly. And like, they talk about like, they have like a mechanical moose. I've never been on a mechanical moose in my life. I don't even know if I've seen a moose in real life. I've seen a black bear. A black bear I've seen, so that's kind of legit. But like a moose, I'm like, have I ever seen a moose? I don't think so. And like, wow. I live in Vancouver, which is there's a lot of like outdoor stuff. So I don't know what they are thinking when they're trying, like, couldn't they do something cool? Like give them like, maybe like create a sky dome or a CN Tower, or like, if you're talking about Toronto, I don't know. There's just other things I think that they could bring instead of like the moose. Now, maple syrup, though, is something that I always have in my house. Now, not like Blake when he's saying that he has it in his bedroom. Like, that's disgusting, I think. I mean, you can play with your food however you want. But, like, he was just bringing in his whole, like, I'm so sexually open.
I was going to say, yeah, him and his sexual comment. Listen, to me, when I think Canada, I think Tim Hortons. How hard is it for them to fly in some Tim Hortons donuts, man? I don't understand.
I mean, Tim Hortons is really Canadian. Like,
right.
That's super Canadian.
Yeah. I'm not understanding this bring Canada, but not really bring Canada.
So Tim Hortons was a hockey player. And what's really cute is that, so they have like a whole hockey like team, like a little like, oh, if you want to be part of the Tim Hortons hockey team, whatever. And so the little kids that are part of this Tim Hortons program are called Timbits, which is one of the little donuts they're called. I'm like, that's so cute. They're Timbits. And Sidney Sheldon was actually a Timbit when he was a little kid before he became obviously an NHL hockey player. So I thought that was a really cute story. So there's a little Canadian history for you guys. B-Bean, I'm sorry to let you down here. No mechanical moose here. I guess I'm not Canadian enough. Not Canadian. Zamika, Tim Hortons is where the woman dumped right in front of the cashier. Oh my God. Is that what we're known for now? I think.
Oh no.
I believe it was at the beginning of the pandemic. And when nobody wanted to let people in to like use the washroom if they weren't like, you know what I mean? It was just when the rules were starting to get set in stone. Yeah. And this one person, I believe she might have been homeless or maybe a little bit, maybe had some mental illness. I'm not sure. When they wouldn't let her use the washroom without purchasing something, she actually just went. She just went.
Oh my God.
So yes, Tim Hortons, claim to fame. I'm telling you. No. Sydney, wait, it's not Sydney. I said Sidney Sheldon. That's an author. But what's his name? Sydney. Oh my gosh, I said the wrong name. Sidney Sheldon is an author though that I really like. Crosby, Sidney Crosby.
Oh, okay.
That's who I meant to say this whole time. So that's your real Canadian history. Sidney Sheldon is not a Canadian hockey player. You saw the video. I know. I saw the video too. It was just shocking that there's human beings that would end up doing that. I mean, it was disturbing. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, back to our Canadian date. Have you had maple syrup before?
I don't think I've had like real maple syrup, like, stuff out the tap, but I've had, the grade A ones that you find in the supermarket, that kind of stuff.
That's regular. That's good. That's good maple syrup.
Yeah.
But one thing that we do that's Canadian, this would have been really cute if they did it. It might be challenging for them to do, but If you go to like Sugar Shacks, so
Mhm.
in the wintertime, you can go outside of, we'll say, Ontario, like outside of Toronto, like in this more in the suburbs and the more rural areas, and they'll have sugar shacking places, and so there'll be a restaurant, and you'll have like food and drinks and stuff like that. But then all of like, then you can go outside and get like make a snow cone, and you can put like maple syrup on it, and you can go and like tap your own maple syrup, and like so it's just a whole like event of like going and tapping some maple syrup. You can buy tons of different maple syrup type products, and then you get a full meal as well. So that's something that we do out here, sugar shacking. And some like fancy restaurants will have like a restaurant out that's a Sugar Shack restaurant. So that's
Yeah,
pretty-
I mostly like your Canadian sweet stuff, so maple leaf cookies. When I went to Canada the last time, which was like a few years ago, we went to KFC, and y'all KFC is totally different than our KFC. Because I was in Toronto. I was in Toronto, or Mississauga. Sorry, we were in Mississauga, and their coleslaw has wasabi in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't understand what that was about.
I mean, I don't eat. I haven't eaten KFC in like 30 years. But do you mean because it's green?
It was green and spicy.
Oh, I mean, that seems like it would taste better. I can. Yeah, maybe it is green, and then maybe I've seen it not be green before. So yeah, that's funny. But okay, well we have green wasabi coleslaw. What else? Do you like beaver tails? Beaver tails is Canadian. Funnel cakes, poutine.
I haven't even had poutine, so
okay. If you like fries and gravy, you like poutine.
Yeah.
Bean, have you ever been to Canada? That's my question. So yeah, that's basically they're playing darts as if like darts is an only Canadian thing, where they're throwing darts at a dartboard with balloons on it. I'm like, where's the production value here? Like, someone needs to step this up and make it a little bit more fancy, because I've never gone to a pool hall and played darts with like just regular balloons on the wall. It just seems so cheap.
Yeah, I don't know. They doing Katie a disservice this season. Right? I don't know. The budget seemed even lower than normal this season. So I don't know. I
was very like, like white balloons that you bought it from the dollar store.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, mechanical bull playing hockey on the street, of course. And Greg can see them out the window, apparently, kissing in the penalty box. Now,
I said, Greg, why are you stalking them? I don't understand.
To give him ammunition, right? Emotional preparation. So, like, as an actor, he's probably, like, trying to get himself into the place that he needs to be to put on this emotional performance. I messaged Tanya, and I'm like, Tanya, is this Greg's Oscar performance right now, this breakup? And I think that him watching them was getting him ready to make this move, to like say these things. He was just fueling him. One of my acting coaches used to say to me, like, if you have a big performance, a big scene that you need to do, especially if it's emotional, you want to get yourself to that emotional place many times throughout the day, so it's like a memory, so you remember just how to get there really quickly. So if I have an emotional scene and I have to do a show at night, I will start crying and getting to that place at like 9 a.m. and then I'll get there again at 11 a.m. then I'll get there again at 1 a.m. and I'll just keep on working that muscle to make sure that like I can get there, so when they call action or whatever, I'm like, okay, I've already worked that muscle. Wow. So I think that he was working that muscle to make sure that he can get there on one date. He's starting a couple days in advance.
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
Greg. Okay, so Greg feels obviously sick to his stomach, and he really did look quite unhappy. But he was saying that she looked so happy, and the fact that she looked happy was making him sick to his stomach. So I also feel like he was trying to get the audience on his side as well. Like, does he also want to be the Bachelor? Like, what's going on here, Greg? This seems contrived.
That is what I'm getting from this episode, because basically right now half the audience is split. It seems like half are really angry at Katie, and half are really angry with him.
I'm definitely not happy with Katie. I do feel as though we'll get to it. We'll get to Katie. I have a lot to say about her. So Katie gets to meet Blake's mom. I didn't remember her name, but I did see her on this guy Dave Neal's podcast on his YouTube channel, and she seems like a really nice woman. Like has like nice values and like does provide a really open family life for Blake. So pardon?
I said okay because I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, and so she'd written a book and stuff like that, and she's been divorced twice, and so I like that I knew a little bit about the mom a bit already.
Okay.
So we're going to be meeting Blake's mom, his sister, one of his sisters, I guess, and his brother. And when they meet them, they're like, oh, the attraction's there. And like Katie's getting all shy and embarrassed that like they're talking about like how like he's so attracted to her. And she's like, stop. Like, don't have to talk about that. It did make me a little bit uncomfortable to see him like talking so openly sexually in front of his mom about Katie. So I can understand why she was a bit embarrassed.
Right. But isn't that what Katie asked for? Like somebody who would be comfortable doing that because apparently her family does that as well.
Yeah, I guess. But maybe she didn't realize that maybe she doesn't want that. Or maybe she doesn't want, because she's not that into Greg or Blake. I don't know.
By the end of this episode, I'm confused because personally, I think it's been Blake. But based on this episode, it sounds like it was always Greg.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know.
So Katie talks to his mom and she asks where she's at with him. And, she's like, I really like him a lot. And we've had this instant attraction. And from the moment we met, like, I knew that you wanted him to go far and I wanted to build our connection, blah, blah, blah. And they never have said that they are in love with each other. But she does say to his mom that she is waiting till the end to say that to the final person so that it's like a special moment that she finally says it to them. Yeah, she doesn't feel like it's right to say it when there's other people that are still involved in the process. So do you think that the Bachelorette process is broken? Because we saw in most of the most recent Bachelors, like Peter's season, Ben Higgins' season, they both told their final two women that they were falling in love with them. And I think Tayshia told a couple people, like, you know what I mean? Like people have been telling some of these people to give them the reassurance.
Right.
Do you think that the formula is broken?
I think at this point, you can't be telling more than one person that you're in love with them. You could say maybe that you're falling in love, or you could see yourself falling in love with this person. But I think at this point where we've evolved to, if you're telling more than one person you've fallen in love with them, the audience is not going to believe you at the end. Or they're going to not like you. And I think it's probably worse for the men, right? I think, we kind of saw that with Matt and Rachel. I feel like it was always Rachel. I don't know anybody who doesn't feel like it was also always Rachel, but Michelle really felt like that, he was telling her this, and I don't feel like he was ever telling her that. But he was saying words that I'm just like, even to Kit and other people, I'm like, why are you saying it like that? Because I don't feel like it's true. Like, it's just some of the verbiage that he was using, I don't feel is true. Same thing with Tayshia. I think Tayshia and Matt did a lot of the same things that when it came to like their final couple people, like Ivan for Tayshia, and I think we kind of saw that with Tayshia and maybe Brendon, that it was a very similar situation. Like, you thought that, oh my gosh, like she really was in love with Brendon, because that's not what we've been seeing, right? Like for us, it was always Zach. So I don't know if it's an editing thing.
I was into Brendon. I didn't really care for Zach.
I feel like from the beginning, because like I think I mentioned this to you, like he from the beginning, Zach would like throw stuff at her. I used to do drugs, and she would just be like, okay, okay. Just like she was just very accepting of him, that I just felt like that is the person that she wanted the entire time.
Fair, but like I wasn't into it personally. I'm happy that she found love and she's happy. But Tasha, so BB saying here that Tasha told Katie to say "I love you." She felt it a week or two ago, and I do kind of remember them having the conversation. Is like she saying something to the effect like, "If you feel it, say it." And so I'm wondering why she held off from saying it or doing something that's reassuring. It's very bizarre to me that she allowed.
But this is why I'm like, I thought it was Blake. Like, that's why I'm confused. Because I thought, based on the fact that she wouldn't even say anything close to it, that's why I think it was Blake. But then she's like, book my ticket home. And I'm like, wait, are you telling me it really was Greg? Because I wasn't seeing it at all. But maybe it's because I couldn't stand him. So I just
Gemini, you got your radar on for those Geminis. Blake is he's a Leo, but he has a lot of Earth placements in his chart. So that's also pretty interesting. And also Justin's a Gemini. None of these people are really the best match for her on the sun sign level.
Okay.
It's also very interesting that she got rid of all the people that would really match with her, their communication style and how they enjoy being loved. Now, Blake.
What is she again? What, Pisces? Capricorn. Right. All right. That's right. So what was Andrew S?
Aquarius.
Okay. No.
But Trey was a Capricorn. Michael P. No, A was. Is it A? Michael? Whatever. The other Michael, the crying Michael. He was, I think, a Taurus. Okay, she told Greg that he was her number one the whole time, but that wasn't enough, okay?
Yeah, like that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like she was telling him, like she told his mother he's going to be here next week. Like she was telling them that he was the front runner, but he just didn't believe her. And I think that's the problem that I have with him, is because why wouldn't you believe her? Why does she have to say, I love you, when you're on the Bachelorette? And you should know that's not going to be said until the end.
So Blake meets with his sister to talk about what's going on. And she's like, you've said that you loved Claire before you met her. So I was like, okay, so this is a pattern. Like, we knew that he connected with Claire beforehand into her DMs and all this stuff. And he probably created a life with her, kind of like what Claire did with Dale, just like imagined just an entire life with her. So he probably did that with Claire. Then he didn't get that relationship, and then he jumped into a love relationship with Tasha, and he didn't become the final guy. So she wants to know what's different, and he didn't really sell to me what was different. Just kind of like, I've never felt this way before, but I don't want to say I love you yet. So I'm like, There was a lot of talking in code and not a lot of direct communication. Absolutely. That's something we'll talk about quite a bit when we get to the Greg and Katie of it all, even though that's all we've been talking about so far.
To be fair to Blake, he did come in late. So that might be the reason, because, again, she can't really reassure anybody, right? So he's been on The Bachelorette, basically, if you want to say three times at this point, right? 3 different Bachelorettes. Maybe he didn't want to go there yet unless it was like closer to the time, because he did come into the process late. So I can definitely see him holding off and maybe building up a bit of a wall.
I'm not mad at Blake for not being there yet, because he was like 3 weeks behind.
Yeah.
But Yeah, yes, BB. And his sister did put him on blast about Claire and Tasha. That I was just like, okay, sister calling you out on national TV saying that you fall in love real quick with these bachelorettes. I thought it was great. But yeah, I understand that if he's not there yet, I understand if he's not ready to make that step yet because everybody else had a couple extra weeks of getting to know her. So I'm totally with you there. So Blake's mom does say that she has a good vibe about their relationship. And he wants to know, him, if he really feels it, that he needs to say it. And like he needs to man up and say this to this woman so that she knows where he stands before she's making any decisions. Because if she doesn't know, she might be swayed to go another way.
Great advice. And I need that advice to be publicized to all men. If you feel it, say it. If you feel it,
she should mail it directly to Cinco.
Right? Thank you. Oh my gosh. We won't talk about it because we'll just elongate this show. I am annoyed with him.
His mom does tear up though with the thought of her son like finding love and falling in love again. So I'm happy that even though has a pattern of falling in love quite quickly, they're still open to Katie and his relationship, and they're not making him feel silly about the fact that he's in this position again. So I like that because he could just be one of those guy that's like falls in love really quickly and gets to really far in relationships with people, and then they choose somebody else. Like that could be his pattern. And so I'm happy that they're still allowing him to go on this journey and not really shun him for the fact that he's in love with a third woman in a year. That's a bachelorette.
Absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts.
We don't do this in Canada, really. Well, actually, maybe I'm lying. But they all play ball hockey together outside. And I was just like, eye roll. And I was like, nobody does that. But then I was thinking when I was younger, not me specifically, but if you had like a cul-de-sac, like the end of the street, people would set up nets and play hockey outside.
All right.
And so that kind of is a thing. But I just thought it was like everybody does that. But I guess maybe it is Canadian that would play hockey outside, like on the street. I've never really I might have done it, but I might have been outside to do it. But like,
I've never done it. But I'm also not sporty, so don't go by me.
I'm not sporty, but I've seen like my brother has done it before, like with friends and stuff, or like driving by and I see people have it set up. So I was like, fine, we do that in Canada, whatever. So they talk after this date. They're like, today was everything. I feel so good about you. And love is a scary word for Blake. And so, but like he said that like the way she kissed me, I just knew. And I didn't feel to me like their kiss was that great. I've seen, well, I don't particularly like the way she kisses in general, but the kisses that I think that are like, oh, good kisses that are like, okay, that's like, I want to marry you kind of kiss. I didn't feel like she gave him that kind of kiss.
Yeah, I can definitely see that part.
Like the kiss that I felt that she gave him was a kind of like, I don't want to give you too much because I think that you're falling in more than I am with you. You know, a little bit holding back. That's what I saw it as, but I still could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So the next date is Justin's. Justin, she gets a running hug jump. So I'm going to have to give Tanya some points there for the hooju. And he's going to show her some life in Baltimore. So it was pretty silly. There's like a big wall where it's supposed to emulate a graffiti alley that's in the city. They're going around in a horse and carriage, kissing on the horse and carriage. I don't know if their most interesting part of their conversation was their debate between blue cheese and ranch. Is that the most interesting thing that happened?
Maybe. And it's always blue cheese. Always.
Yeah, it's always like blue cheese. Like ranch, I'm like, ranch is disgusting.
I hate
You're
ranch.
American.
I'm American and I hate ranch. I don't understand why people like ranch. I hate it when they send me ranch instead of my blue cheese. Like I get very pissed off. It like send me extra blue cheese. That's what I
mean. Do you like ranch or blue cheese? This might be the end of our friendship. I mean, I've never liked ranch. And I know like a lot of people like put ranch on everything, ranch with their chicken nuggets and ranch with their pizza dipping. Like, I'm like, ranch is not a Canadian thing at all. We have it here, obviously, but maybe if you're getting at like chicken wings and you have like ranch or blue cheese for your vegetables, but
No.
I don't like ranch at all. It just tastes
Yeah.
kind of rotten and like sour.
I hate ranch.
So he's like, oh my God, are you serious? Because she likes blue cheese as well. So they really connected on the different level. Maryland is known for crabs, which I didn't know. So that was interesting.
Yes.
So I was like, I would love to go and like do like a crab thing and eat tons of crabs.
I've done it. I've done it. Yeah, it's so much fun. When my ex-husband and I, we went to like a all-you-can-eat crab fest once. We took a bus. So we're in Jersey, and we took a bus. So Maryland is about 4 hours away.
Oh, so it's kind of close.
Yeah, it's not far. And then so we took a bus to Maryland, fresh crabs, and they like dump it on the table for you. And then we got like drinks, and it was very fun. Very, very fun.
I'm definitely down with that. Like if they have some hot butter, like I don't know, like just delicious. But she seemed like she didn't really enjoy it. She's like, oh, like we have to get past the nasties to get to the good stuff, is what Justin was saying. And I was like, okay, you're trying to make this into like a Hallmark card moment, but I still like you, Justin. You're like, I know you're trying real hard to make it look like you like this girl, but
I was like, Justin is not it. I don't understand why she didn't keep Andrew unless it's that she knew he really, really liked her, and she just knew he was not going to be the one and just cut him, because there was no, like, there's no reason why Justin should be in this episode at all. I'm not seeing it. And so then the fact that his parents were just like, yeah, unless you engage, we ain't meeting her.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, is that Justin's like, hey, mom and dad, like, I don't think I'm going to win this show, but do you want to come and quarantine for 2 weeks and come on The Bachelorette to meet this girl, Katie, who I'm not going to marry. It's not me, but like, I'm in the final 4 or 3. It's our hometown dates. Do you want to come, mom and dad? And they're like, yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, no.
The fact that they didn't show up or they didn't come meant to me that he wasn't serious about their relationship.
Yeah. No.
If I was going to be engaged to somebody, 100%,
yeah,
I'd be like, hey, like, you have to come. This is not really an option here. Like, I need you to meet this girl before I get married or get engaged. Like, you have to meet her. There'd be no like, we'll see, hon. Like, no. So,
and I can't see myself if I know my son, show or not, if I know my son, and I have to, is very, very, like, really interested in this girl that he's contemplating marriage. My behind would be there, quarantine or not. I just don't feel like that ever was a thought in anybody's head, because I don't see that Justin is it at all. No one there.
Well, and I don't see that she is it for Justin either.
No.
And even so, Herb is one of his friends, and Tommy are both of his best friends from a long time, for pretty much half his life, 12 to 15 years. And, you know, they're wondering if Justin's really ready for a proposal, ready for marriage. And they said that they've never really seen him this way before, and he's not usually that touchy-feely. And so that tells me that he's putting on an act, right? He's like making it seem like he's really into this woman, but I don't think that he's there. I think that he just doesn't know how to leave, and he knows that he's not going to be the one, and so he's just like riding his time until she lets him go. What? What about you, Natalie? If you had to choose, you'd choose ranch?
I can't do it.
Justin's parents told him before he left that they were never coming. Probably. They're just like, yeah, we're not really into this like Bachelor bullshit.
Yeah. Justin to me seems like cool guy. He was just like, hey, you know, I need to get on the show to promote my art business, and she just said, "Oh, he's a cool black guy. Let's get him to the end." I'm not seeing it.
The end.
Yeah.
I did want to see what his parents looked like, though. I did.
Me too. But I think he's got to be mixed. So
that's what it looks like to me too. But I just wanted to see if his mom was white and dad was black, or vice versa. Like, or if they both were mixed. Like, I wanted to see how that shaked out. We didn't get to, unfortunately. My mom's going to be disappointed because that's the only reason she was watching this episode was to see his family.
Oh, that's right. Your mom likes Justin, right?
Well, she's always going to support the black people on the show, and he's the only black guy that's left, and so she wanted to see his family because she was tuned out from Katie. She doesn't like her anymore. Well, she never really did, but she's done. So they talk about the fact that he was the first person that she kissed. Herb has never seen him that affectionate before. He's kind of surprised by how he's acting. Herb and Katie have a conversation, and they talk about how he hasn't come out and said, "I love you" yet, and that she has chosen not to say it. So it's funny that this keeps on coming up. I've chosen not to say it. I've chosen not to say it. I've chosen not to say it. It's like, maybe you need to have chosen to say it because you might save this season.
Right. I don't know, but I feel like Matt did the same thing. Like he had to tell all the women's family that he wasn't going to, he's saving that, right? I feel like he said it a couple of times as well. And I don't remember Tayshia quite doing that though.
Did he miss this year? I guess this year Paradise is done.
I don't know. He could come in. We don't know who's going to come in. We have a couple of theories, but I'm not sure if anybody was paying attention to Justin to see if he could potentially come in on this season, right?
I want him on this season.
Yeah. I could definitely see him coming on this season. Yeah. I think the only one I can't see is Andrew S. I really think Andrew S. really liked Katie. I'm not saying he was in love with Katie. I'm saying he was really, really liked her. And so I think
he's really young. He's 26.
He's young. That's what I'm saying. So I think he'll use this. This is my first heartbreak. Blah, 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 blah. He won't come on this season of Paradise, but maybe next season of Paradise on his way to being Bachelor, because they're not going to do 2 Black Bachelors 2 years in a row. So.
Hi, Cassandra. So you felt that this was the only episode worth watching all season. I mean, I don't think they even needed the beginning of the episode because it was all about the end of the episode, to be fair.
Right. Well, first of all, I kept saying, well, what are we getting at the end of the episode? Were we ever even going to get a rose ceremony? Because Michael A. already kicked himself out the game. So you got to have 3 fantasy suites, right? You couldn't just do 2. I mean, unless they wanted to do 2 just so she could have sex with both of them. So I was just like, what were we going to get anyway at the end of this episode? I don't think there was going to be much movement beyond the 3. I think all 3 were going to go to hometown fantasy suites. And then, she was probably going to send Justin home. And then, the end. So I think the Greg thing came out of nowhere for her. I don't think it came out of nowhere for him. I think he plotted it. Did you see Nick Vial's tweet from July 19th?
So I don't have I have him muted.
He put, and I'm going to concur, July 19th at 8:15 p.m. Hot take. Greg is Thomas with better execution.
I said a long time ago that I'm like, Greg is the liar here. Why are we not looking at Greg? Why are we so hung up on Thomas? When
I've been saying it. Yeah. I've been saying it. I saw it from episode 1. Because remember, Tanya and I said after Thomas and what's his name? Hudson, Henson, whatever his name is, were left, and we said who was going to be the next villain, and we always said Greg. And I find it funny. I was like, how come this season had so many villains? I'm like, how many villains can one season have?
and people might not appreciate me saying this, but I think the fact that they went with Katie. So they went with Katie, somebody that wasn't well known, wasn't some big, like, someone that got their heart broken in the final 4 or so on Matt's season, that people got to love, that were following that love story, following that journey, and then they became the Bachelorette. They didn't follow that. They went to Katie, who was a 12th place person that nobody really cared about, nobody really knew. Now, with casting for Katie's season, people didn't know who she was. People didn't know. They didn't care. Like, they're applying to be on The Bachelor, but they thought that, usually like it's going to be someone that either you like or you don't like. And so I think that they didn't have anybody that was really going on for Katie, that was like, she's the one that I want to be in a relationship. No. So I think that everybody that was on this season was trying to just be like, I don't even know who this girl is. I'm going to go on the show and see what happens here.
Yeah.
And allow her to be on.
Except for Blake. And
so I also think, because Katie is not like JoJo, who has probably been in situations where many men have been wanting her and attracted to her and wanting relationships from her, or like Emily Maynard. Like, there's all these women that are very kind of more bombshelly, and to say that somebody that's less bombshelly doesn't deserve to be the Bachelorette, but I don't feel like Katie was capable of juggling all these men. Because it's just something that she wasn't used to. And I think that she wasn't able to keep them or get them interested in her enough.
Keep them interested. Yeah. I agree, which is why I never had a problem with the Thomas conversation. Yes, of course he thought about being the Bachelor. He didn't know who the hell the Bachelorette was going to be. He didn't know that it was going to be Katie, because who would know this? She finished in 12th place. There were 50 other girls who could have gotten it before her and should have gotten it before her, especially for Matt's season. I mean, there's a long line of women that should have gotten this, that I think they would have, A, had better ratings, B, had more guys clamoring for that specific girl. I think we're going to see a totally different shift when Michelle's season starts, of men who really came for Michelle. Just for Michelle, because I know that people, in a group that I'm in, I know people literally were like, I'm gonna go and sign up for The Bachelor, regular people, because I want to meet Michelle and I think she could be the love of my life. And not Katie.
That off, even from what I've learned about her, I'm kind of like, oh, she's okay. I'm sure that she has a match out there for her, but she's not somebody, from what I've learned about her in the last 2 months, I'd be like, oh my God, she is the person I need to come meet, other than Blake. So I think that that's also why this season isn't working, is because nobody wants to be with her that badly. No. They haven't been watching her for 2-3 months and been like, oh my God, she has her heart broken, and really involved in her story, and really, I'm like, I could be that guy for her. I'm the one that's for Katie. She didn't really get that. And so I think that the show did her a disservice by making her have to start completely from scratch with many of these men. She had 30 men, and she can't keep half of them.
Yeah. Because, Brendon cut himself. Michael A., I knew he was never letting that woman meet his child. I'm sorry. There was no chemistry enough for him to say, you know what, I really think that I could see myself with this person, that I wouldn't allow her to meet my son. So no, she was never going to have a Michael A. hometown. He was always going to be, I'm gunning for The Bachelor. She cut Andrew, which I think he's probably one of the only ones that grew to actually really like her personality. But she just didn't like him. And then she cut some of the other guys that I think probably did like her, but not a lot, like a Trey.
Well, and then also she spent half of her time dealing with the drama, because that's what she wanted to do, was come and tattle with her. And so she cut Rose Ceremony short. She didn't get a chance to get to know any of these men, or to develop any relationships with them, because they were starting from scratch. The reason why Blake could jump into the process when he did was because he knew who she was and he liked her.
Right.
But everybody else, nobody else did, because they weren't in the Bachelor franchise already. They're just these regular people that their friends said, hey, you should go on the Bachelorette. And
Yeah.
they send them up and send them to go, or they did it themselves. Like, hey, who knows what? Maybe I'll meet somebody. Maybe I'll become the Bachelorette. Who knows? And then they find out it's Katie. Okay, let's see if I have any like connection or chemistry with her.
Yeah,
So,
I frankly think it's karma for her whole season of Matt James and then becoming. I personally think that either that or the production hates her because this wasn't it. This was not it. And they started late. Like, that's the funniest thing. They could have turned some of this around because remember, they were supposed to start filming in Canada and they had to delay it by a week or two because they couldn't get into Canada. So I think they could have gotten more guys that maybe liked Katie more. If there were any, I don't know. They could have changed strategies, I think, but they just was just so gung ho to go with this basic number 12. I will never forgive them. I really won't. I will never forgive them because we could have had a Brie. We could have had both Serenas. even the other Serena I would have took. We could have. There's so many other women from that season that, my opinion, could have carried the season. Could have brought the guys that deserved it more than Katie.
Yep. I totally agree. And Cassandra, are you saying that they make Canada look lame? What do you mean? You don't want to come and visit Canada now? Please, Cassandra. So, do we think that Greg never loved Katie? I don't think he loved Katie. No.
I don't think he ever loved Katie. That sit down with her where he is like pouring his heart out was the fakest thing I've ever seen.
Well, this is what I wrote to Tanya. You can see. I was like, is this Greg's Oscar performance?
Yeah. I will tell you what I put down. I said, "Ooh, so the fake." I think I said, "So the fake." Let me find the right wording.
If Greg loved her, he would just stick around. Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Tasha is definitely super beautiful. Justice for Brie, 100%. Imagine Brie as a Bachelorette. Like, guys fall for her. The guys, like, she's gorgeous. She's fun. She's ambiguous ethnicity, so she looks exotic. Like, what's her background? Like,
she would have been an amazing Bachelorette. I'm still so mad at them. I don't understand. She didn't have a job. She didn't have a job. She was ripe for being loved. Matt James had thrown her over for no reason. Like, she would have been the perfect Bachelor if Michelle was not available.
I'm wondering if they didn't ask her, or no, I mean,
no, they didn't
want it. Sorry.
No, she wanted it. She was mad.
I thought she was mad at the franchise.
Yeah, she was mad at the franchise, but also because they didn't ask her.
Katie isn't stunning. Well, she's very average. She's pretty, but it's just, I don't think
she's not ugly. It's not that she's ugly, and it's not that I think an average girl couldn't carry the season. What I am saying is an average number 12, meaning somebody who finished out 12. We barely got to see her because she caused so much drama in the show and wasn't focused on whatever. She was not, there was no connection between her and Matt. It'd be different if it was a number 12 that, Matt James was like really into, so he was doing a lot of stuff with and then cut her early. Kind of like what Katie did with Andrew S., right? Or even a Conor. Like, they had a lot of stuff going on and then she cut them earlier than people thought was going to happen. So that makes sense. This picking Katie, there was no reason because not only did she not have a connection with Matt, meaning we did not even get to learn an iota about her, she also was not going to, because she's average, because she had no draw, and there was no way she was going to bring people in for a season. And then they tried to make us this be a Katie thing, and they were still making her look terrible. Like, It wasn't even like Katie's beautiful and she's this, and this. It was Katie is being outdressed by almost everybody who is coming into her orbit on this show.
Yeah, well, she said that she dresses herself, so that's the problem here.
That's
Her style or her own kind of vibe. Just she's basic, and it's not enough, in my opinion, to be the lead of a show.
Yeah.
Yep, Michael. I thought he was fake too. None of them were. I agree. Just like Tayshia saving Claire's season, Michelle will save the franchise after Katie's bombing this. Hopefully.
I hope some of her guys they got to rethink because they threw a bunch of racists on her season 2, and I don't know what they're gonna do about that. But yeah, I definitely think Michelle's more of a draw. She's a teacher. But she's beautiful. She's sporty. She seems to have a great group of friends. She's an average girl, meaning like she's from Minnesota. You know what I mean? But she also has the other things to pull people. She's interesting. There's other things to pull people into her season. And we got to learn, even though she came in halfway through the show, we got to learn a lot more about her because she had such a strong connection, maybe one-sided, to Matt James.
Yeah, I think that like she's just definitely has a better personality, more suited for this role, and we got to know her better, and we were involved in her story. I wasn't involved in her being the champion for the women, Katie. Like, I was like, Katie, sit down. Like, stop inserting yourself in these women's business and just let it be. And so I think that the franchise really messed up here with having Katie as the lead, and I'm sure they're seeing that this season the ratings have tanked, like they're bad.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with Chris Harrison. It was literally they picked a bad lead. They picked a bad lead, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And so Justin talks to Katie after, and they kiss. Tommy, his friend, also said he's never seen him that way. So that's why it makes me think like, oh, he's faking it, because if nobody's seen him this way and he's not really that touchy-feely, he's a Gemini. Gemini is not really that touchy-feely, really. It seems like it might be a little bit contrived. But they were playing some music at the end of his little date. And to me, that music was saying like, okay, Justin's not making it any further. He's either going to be done this round or he's going to be out next.
Right.
Katie said it was the POC drama on Men Tell All for being bullies and Katie's ratings, and Greg leaving is her karma. Yeah, on the Men Tell All for Matt James, the Women Tell All. Wait, Katie said that it was all the POC karma on the Men Tell All for being bullies.
Yes, she did say this. I think she means Women Tell All, because that's what she said on the Women Tell All. Like, she said it to Chelsea. And Chelsea's like, but what did I do? She's like, and then she had to admit, because Chelsea kept going at her and people got mad at Chelsea, but she was absolutely right because she kept saying it was karma. And Chelsea's like, but what did I do? Explain to me what I did. And she's like, not really anything except for be friends with people who supposedly were causing drama in the house. But the person who was causing drama in the house, in my opinion, was Katie.
Yep. Well, she seemed to like go and insert herself into situations and cause a drama around it. So right. I was not here for Katie and like people like, oh, she's standing up for bullying. Like the first one, fine, if she wants to like relay that Sarah was like, we should have a little bit more humility and like not be so quick to jump down Sarah's throat. She's going through a lot that we don't know about. So let's like, reserve our right to judgment. Maybe that first one she could share because she had some extra information. But after that, she did it like 2 or 3 more times. She was like, the person, go up and tell Matt that there's drama in the house and some women are shitty. And like, I was like, you need to sit down. Like, not that I'm endorsing or condoning what the women were doing, but the fact that she had to go and tell Matt, I was like, why don't you let them figure it out on their own? Like, just let them figure it out on their own. It's like their drama. You don't need to go into, Dad, they're fighting over here. Like, no, let them figure it out on their own. They are grown adults. If they want to have an argument, if they're irritated by each other about something, you don't need to go and tattle on them. Like,
and we see that because she did that, that's the kind of person that she is. In her season, it bled the other way because these men could care less about getting to know her. They just wanted to cause drama. Again, like I said, how many villains can one season have? Like, they just wanted to cause drama because they knew that she liked it. It was toxic. And then they just all started dropping like flies.
And she never got a chance to have a connection with them.
No.
So we have Greg's date, and he's going to be doing a beach town. I forget where he said that he was from. Did I not write it down? They do a tandem bike ride.
I think he's from Seattle, because didn't they already do that Seattle date with the fish where she threw fish at him?
I think she's from Seattle. I don't think he's.
Oh. I thought she was from Portland. Oh, wait. You're right. It was a Portland date. That was from her.
And is he from Portland?
No. I think Katie's from Portland.
Oh, not Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys tell me in the chat. I didn't write it down where they're from. I was really like watching not with full attention because I was just like,
yeah. I didn't catch it either. So that shows you where my head was.
State. So there was a bouncy castle thing that they were on. They played some basketball. He does bring the fact that, basketball was something that he used to play with his dad. And so he wanted to share this with Katie. So I think that this is his way of like, he's creating the emotional narrative so that she's going to get roped in and then connected. And he's going to have like the groundwork to like say all these heartfelt things. And he knows that she's not going to be able to reciprocate in the way that he could say that he needs. And I feel he was just laying the groundwork here. I do believe that he's New Jersey. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's from New Jersey. I should have remembered that. And
well, I don't feel he was from West Coast. I'm like,
yeah, no, he's from New Jersey, and I think he's living in New York. So he said that Katie was gonna move to New York. I said Katie's not moving to New York.
You don't really? No. I don't know. She's just so basic. I can't imagine her living in like a super big city like that.
Me neither. That's what I'm saying. I can definitely see her living with Blake in a small town in Canada. I can't see her living in New York.
Live in a small town. I mean,
but doesn't he live in forests or something? Like I thought he lived out the way or something like that.
I believe he lives in Hamilton, which is like it's kind of a suburb, but it's still it's a city suburb. Like Mississauga is a suburb, you know what I mean? So it's not like tumbleweeds and forests and stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought it was more foresty than Mississauga, which is to me it's like Jersey.
It's more like Jersey. It's actually closer to the States. It's very close to the American border where he's from.
Oh, okay.
Hamilton, I believe. So I think Hamilton, like on the other side of the bridge, is the States. So he lives closer to Hamilton than I do, just closer to the States than I do.
Okay.
But yeah, not a small town. Jeez, like making us look bad, Tamika. They meet his mom, his older brother Joe, his best friend Dave, and I thought Dave, I just don't know if I wasn't paying attention, but looked exactly like Justin's best friend. I was like, is that the same person? But
this is so weird. So the thing is, it's like I blinked my eyes and I looked back and I was like, wait, same date. I'm like, okay, I'm checking out here.
I mean, people don't look anything alike, but I just remember being like, is it the same person?
So funny.
So apparently Katie's moving to San Diego. Who lives in San Diego?
Who lives in San Diego?
I wonder. Ooh, Sophie has a crush on you.
Oh.
Apparently you look like, sorry, just kidding. Bailey from The Challenge and Big Brother.
Oh, do I look like Bailey?
I don't think so.
I have to think about that. I don't think I look like Bailey.
I'd say probably not. Okay, let's go this date because I'm over this show.
Yeah.
You know what? I wrote down it rains in Jersey too. Because remember, it rains in Jersey too. And like they have the rain date and then they kiss in the rain. I'm just like, you guys are just whack. Like whack. Maybe if I liked them both, I would think that this was a cute moment, but like I just rolled my eyes. So Greg's mom is in the picture and she's asking him about, how his limo entrance is. And like, oh my God, he was just so, I was just taken aback by how nervous he was, but he was just so honest about like where he was coming from that like, it just was, I was really like drawn to him. And his other two sisters, or his other sister Lisa,
COVID-19 vaccines are
safe. And you can see all of his like nieces and nephews saying like, "I love you, Uncle Greg." So I thought that was really cute. He was kind of teared up with like seeing his family send these, videos, etc., etc. Katie and Joe talk. They say that he really doesn't really talk to anybody. He hasn't really talked to anybody since his dad has passed away, and so they are really happy though that they're bringing out this side of him that they haven't seen in a while. His best friend said pretty much the same thing, like, he's really opened up with Katie, etc., etc. So the mom asked her, what is so special about him? And she's like, he's honest and he's humble and he loves his family. And she does tell him, what we talked about already, that Greg will be here next week. So Greg's mom is worried, though, that he might get hurt, especially because they haven't seen him this happy in a really long time. So then after Greg and Katie start talking and, talking about how his mom had said that she hasn't seen him this happy in a long time. And he is crying and he's saying that he's in love with her and he's not going to get down on one knee twice. And that like, he really has opened his heart to her. And like, this is something he's never done before. And who asked? Did she ask or did he ask? Do you feel good about us? She asked.
Okay.
She asked, did you feel good about us? And he says, I try to. And she's like, just hang in there. And that to me is, I'm picking you, just hang in there. To me, that's what that says.
Yeah. People kept saying that she wasn't giving him reassurance. I thought she was being reassuring. But I also think he was being very, very manipulative. Like the I'm only getting on my knee, my knee once through this process because I can't do it. I can't handle it. And I'm like, oh my God, why is he doing this? Like it was very like, first of all, I feel like it was out of nowhere. Second of all, I think it was borderline, like, I don't want to say psychotic, but it was just very manipulative to me.
Yeah, I don't think that,
it was scary to me personally, like that whole thing. And then when they have the conversation later and he starts yelling at her, like that whole, the both scenes just was very scary to me. I didn't like it.
Yvonne says Greg seemed childish and too scared to say what he really wanted, which was the Claire Dale ending. He wanted her to leave with him immediately.
Okay. If I thought that he liked her, that would make sense. But I have never gotten the vibe that he was anywhere near into her at all.
Katie told him, I promise, when he says, are you saying it's going to be us or whatever? So a promise is pretty good.
Yeah, she was just telling him, listen,
though, if like the fact that she let him go, though, that makes me think that it's not him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yes. Oh, okay. I did feel that as well when she was like to Caitlin, I know there's no way I can get him back. And I was like, why wouldn't you be able to just tell them that if you're done, tell them that you're done and go for him. So that's why I'm saying I really felt like the entire time it was Blake, but then the way she was confusing me through that whole entire conversation, like book my ticket. But then like my whole thing, you know me, assertive, be assertive. If you think he was it and you're like, book my ticket because I'm done with the show, go get the man. Go get your man. Tell him that you love him. Say this is it. You're basic anyway. The producers can record it while you're in jeans and move on.
Is that a little bit of shade there? They can record it while you are in jeans.
I'm saying, am I wrong? Like, record it in your sweater and your jeans and keep it moving.
Sandra says Greg was reaching for any reason to leave, which was very weird. Why bother tell her you love her? Weirdo. I think he was trying to do that to get the audience on his side.
And to make her feel bad. Like it was, I said, that fake declaration of love like didn't work the way he thought. He used it as a manipulation tactic. It was supposed to, huh?
I'm not gonna lie though, when I was listening to it, I get very vocal. I should record sometimes me watching these shows because I talk out loud to the television. And a lot of times when she was speaking, I was like, shut up. I was like, shut up. Like I really felt though that she was kind of like I don't think she was giving him in that moment what he needed. So yes, she might have given him some reassurance in the past, saying like, I promise you're the one, I want to give you the rose, tell your mom that, whatever. She might have said all these things that she felt that were enough to keep him, to make him know where she stood. But I can agree with him that in these times where he just wants her to look at him and just like say whatever it needs to say with like eye contact, with that vibe, that intensity, like, you know, when someone is into you and you know that it's like it can't be anybody else. She wasn't giving him even that tingly vibes. Like I couldn't see from when she was talking to him, giving him any sort of energetic reassurance that he was the one. She would be like, I don't know what more to say. I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry you feel this way. And I'm like, well, he wants to feel that you're in him. Like, you're not giving him enough. You are completely the wall there, and whatever he needs, if it's not the words, he needs him to feel that he believes that he's the one, and she's giving him that as well. I mean, I know he's using this as an excuse, but you're right. That she was giving him enough to want to stay, so she gave him the ammunition. Yeah,
I agree, because when she started off the conversation and she was just like, okay, like kind of like, okay, like, and that's why I kept saying, no, it's Blake. She wants Blake. And then she kept going and she's like, no, it you know, it's us, I promise. Like, you just have to get through this. Then I started getting confused. I said, so maybe she does want him. And then she kept going and I was like, wait, I'm so confused. Like, wait, who is it that she wants? Because at first when she was starting the conversation, it did feel like, oh, she's not going to give him anything because it's not him. And then when she kept going and she kept giving him stuff, I said, oh, so she's giving him more because it is him. And then she kept going and I was like, no, he's manipulating her, because I don't feel like anything she's saying or can say would have appeased him because he wants out.
But if she said something that the audience believed,
right,
then he might have to have changed his tune. You know what I mean? But like, she really wasn't giving him anything, and her words weren't landing. And I was like, shut up, Katie. Like, you're not doing what you need to keep this man. Like, if you love this man so much, if you want him there at the end, if you want him to be there even next week, like, I don't know, I can keep a hair appointment with more conviction than she can keep this man on her show. Like what?
I listen, again, she should have broke the fourth wall, because even this, we didn't really see her break the fourth wall. She just kind of stomped off to her room. And then we see the producers have basically sent Caitlin in. But she should have broke the fourth wall and be like, what do I do? Because he's the man. This is who I want. So you guys need to help me figure out how I can make sure he does not leave. So what can I say that will not frick up my contract? What can I do that won't mess up the end? Or this is the end. And as I said, record me while I'm in jeans and a sweater. And this is the end. No fantasy suites. He's the one I want, and that's it.
Exactly, because Tanya's agreeing with you. She doesn't need to get dressed up. You go as you are, Katie, just as you have been.
That's what I'm saying.
Thanks for the agree with me, B Bean. Katie told us the worst villain was coming to prepare us, but Greg was not as bad as Katie wants us to think. I think he was bad because they were villainizing so much the other people and talking about how like nasty and disgusting Thomas was. And look at this. Like, she had somebody under her nose that I think is being worse.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I think that's how I felt the whole entire Thomas situation, which is why I'm like, but you still have Greg right there. Like, I understand you're worried about Thomas, but Greg is still right there. And plus, I think there was a point where on either her social media or her Twitter or something, so she liked somebody's comment where they said something against Greg. And then his sister got pissed and said, that's not fair. You're the one who said, don't come after the men. So why are you allowing this nasty comment about my brother? And she like either deleted her comment towards it or her like or whatever it was. So I kind of saw this coming on top of his own behaviors. And so a lot of the times when people were just making villains pop up out of nowhere, I wasn't believing any of them, because my whole thing is the true villain was still in the building. I just feel like he was never into her. There was nothing from that first date when she was like talking about like her father and all this stuff, and he just was giving her nothing. And then we find out like an episode or two later that his father died. So, or like later in the episode or something like that. And I'm like, why didn't you, when she was spilling her...
He did, though, later on in their date.
Yeah, I just felt like the timing of it, to me, is somebody who's empathetic of what you're going through would also commiserate with you about how you're feeling, rather than use it later as a gotcha card. I also feel this way, and I'm opening up to... Like, I don't like how he's been moving in this whole process.
So Luigi here says that she's the Bachelorette first, Greg's girlfriend second.
Yes.
But
I think contractually.
But if she's going to walk off the show, like their contract, that should be voiding her contract there. If she doesn't get the guy or the engagement, she doesn't get that ring, which is another big part of being the Bachelorette. So is she really still being the Bachelorette if she lets the guy leave and she decides to quit the show?
Right. I mean, we already had Claire quit the show to get Dale, because that was the person she wanted. Again, I feel like fourth wall could have been broken. And if it, like, she was on her knees begging the man, and then he walked away from her. And my whole thing is, I don't see why, if you're in that situation and that is the man that you want, that you couldn't tell the producers, like, what can I do? Because he's the man that I was going to choose, period, point, end of conversation. And y'all are about to let the love of my life walk out of here without me being able to reassure him that he was the one. So I need to know how I can get out of this contractually in order to do this, so that we can, so I don't lose my story.
So if she, even if she can't, she didn't want to say that she was in love with anybody, okay? Even if that's the case, you're saying that they didn't trade empathy stories in a good, timely fashion in that first date that they had.
Right.
Well, this is kind of what I'm saying about when he's opening his heart to her. Mm-hmm. Like, if the person that I'm in love with is that I'm in love with you, you filled this hole in my heart. It hasn't been open since my father died. I'm crying here to you, and you're just looking at me like this.
Yes, I agree.
But that's a problem. And I would be pissed if someone just was looking at me like that when I'm saying all these things. Like, why did hug him? Why didn't she grab his face and kiss his face all over? Like, why didn't she just like look him in the eyes and kiss him? Like, that's all he probably needed, or to look at him in his eyes and kiss him with some intention behind it. Right. And he might be able to be like, okay, I know what she means. But she just stared at him and didn't know what to say. Well, you know what? You didn't have to say anything. You should have done something. You should have showed him that you were feeling something for him, and you couldn't say something, so you had to show him something to make him feel okay.
I agree. That was the part where I was like, oh, she's not giving it anything. It has to be Blake. And then she started spiraling, and then I got confused. So I'm like, so is it just that he's manipulating her? Because I'm not seeing where it wasn't Blake, but now all of a sudden she's saying he was the person. I told interviews and magazines that I found him and he was the one. And I'm just like, But was he? Because I wasn't seeing it. I'm still not seeing it.
I mean, I've never really seen it, but like, maybe I don't get this dynamic with somebody basic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I just don't maybe understand like basic love stories because
right.
People, it's just usually different energy. So that could be something else as well. So Vivian says, unless Greg confesses, we will not know if he ever loved her because she did not reciprocate in the way that he wanted to reveal his truth. Absolutely. If she had kissed him with intention and kissed his face and hugged him and like made him know from her heart and from her emotional, like what she was giving to him, that he was the one, and then he still said that's not enough, then we could be like, okay, he's playing a game. But we can't really fully tell 100% because she didn't give him anything. She's like, I can't say anything. I didn't know what to do. I was just looking at you and I was just trying to be there and listen. Like, yeah, great. You're there and listen. Like, you're not my therapist. You're not my counselor. You're my partner. You're supposed to be the person I'm in love with. Like, you're supposed to know what to do to make me feel better in this moment. And she couldn't figure it out. She couldn't figure out how to comfort him. And that's a problem if you're going to get married. The editors can just edit it out.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, fourth wall should have been broken if he was the person, because the editors can edit, cut, paste, whatever needed to be done when they needed it.
Yeah. Okay, so to be honest, I didn't believe either Katie or Greg. If Greg really loved her, he would try to leave with her. If Katie really loved him, she would have find a way to reassure him. Maybe that's the thing too. But we're both saying that the problem is, though, that why is she breaking down and saying that she quits the show for the fact that she's not going to choose him? Like, if she wanted to be with Greg, then she should have done something to be with Greg.
Unless it's a tantrum because all these men started quitting her show. Like, that's possible. Maybe she's mad because she was going to send Justin home tonight, and
now she has to keep him, and then make him.
And now she has to keep him. And when she wanted it to be a better love story, it was going to be between Greg and Blake, and then she was going to pick Blake. And now it fucked up whatever she had in her head was going to be the story, and that's possible.
Okay, Luigi's here, the bold strategy, calling out the lead because she is there for the wrong reason.
I wholeheartedly agree. I don't think Katie has ever done this for good reason, just for the simple fact that, I'm sorry, if I was a number 12, basic, left behind woman, no storyline, I would have not accepted The Bachelorette.
But it's going to be like $100,000. Like, I would have accepted The Bachelorette.
I wouldn't have done it because I would have been afraid of this. No, I would rather not be a national embarrassment for 100. No, but she is, like, this entire season is trash. And the only thing that salvaged her season is that she got good men on there, but those men did not come for her. Aaron didn't like care for her. Like, Greg, I'm not seeing where he cared for her. I don't see where these men cared for her. That's embarrassment. That's embarrassment. They dropped out like flies, and that's why I'm saying I think maybe that's the point. She got pissed because the men kept, like, she literally lost a Michael A. And now, who she said was supposed to go to the end too. And now you've got a Greg. So I think it was supposed to be probably a Michael A., a Greg, and a Blake at the end. And now Michael A. was like, you ain't meeting my son. Bye. And then Greg was like, you ain't giving me what I want. Bye. And so she stuck with Blake and Greg. And yes, Blake might have been the one she wanted, but she's like, but my story and what I wanted to happen at the end is not going to happen, because, again, I don't think she's there for the right reasons either.
Luigi thinks that the walls that he saw her putting up were real because she was only putting up walls to keep herself from spoiling that she was going to pick him on camera. But that's what Tamika's saying, is that, like, they could just cut that out. Like, she could just tell him and give him the reassurance and still play out the season, and nobody knows the wiser. Like, we knew that JoJo picked Jordan. Like, we knew that was going to happen, and I think she did tell him that he was the one.
Yeah.
Catherine was told by Sean that she was the one very early on. I think he sent her a letter when she was starting to feel like nervous. He's like, we have to go through this process, but it's you. And so they've done it in the past. So I don't know why she couldn't do
and
it.
I think Blake from Becca's season, it was the opposite. She kept telling Blake it was him, and then she chose the other guy. I think that's what he said on his show.
Katie also said if Greg quits, she will quit, which is so weird.
Yeah, I'm thinking she's upset because her season is not looking good.
No,
it's not looking good.
And like, nobody wants to be there. It's true. Nobody wants to be there.
Because I can't see Michelle doing that. I can't see Michelle being mad if her second, let's say he's second choice. I can't see her being mad that her second choice said bye. I can only see her, and if her first choice said bye, I can definitely see Michelle being like, cut, listen, I'm not doing this. So wherever he goes, I go, figure this out.
Yeah. Well, she would take control of the season, but I do think that Katie, like, getting some confidence with what's going on and all this stuff, like, definitely, she wasn't the lead. Okay, so Luigi said they're all just there for an Instagram bump. Absolutely. Katie should just go find Hunter since he's the only guy who loves the show as much as she does. LOL. I don't even know if Katie loves the show.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, yes, Cassandra.
Yes, he was a big fan. Apparently, that was the whole thing. That she was a super fan of The Bachelor.
Whoa, Cassandra says that Blake is only into anything with a hole. Cassandra, woo!
Oh, I don't know.
Man, ouch is right. Okay, so let me just pull this rest of this, and like we can be done with the season almost. So they do go into a second room where they're kind of talking, and she really isn't giving him enough. Like she just like you can kiss somebody with conviction. Like she just wasn't giving him enough, and I don't know if it's her lack of experience. I don't know if it's because she doesn't know how to show someone that she loves them in a way that's not with words. Like, I don't know what her problem is here, but I feel like I would be able to show somebody, or somebody would know that I was into them and wouldn't need for me to tell them specific words. So I thought that she dropped the ball 100% there. So after we see Blake and Greg having a little bit of a scene together, and he says to Blake, I spilled my heart. Like, I don't know how you're doing this right now. And then Blake just gets up and it's like, I'm going to go to the gym. I was like, you didn't really listen to that conversation, but I'm sure
it was absolutely terrible.
We just say this many guys self-eliminating. It's starting to feel like Colton season 2 of the top 4. This is bad. Yeah.
That's what I think. I think it's more of an embarrassment than a, oh my gosh, the man that I wanted is leaving. Because my whole thing is, if the man that you wanted is leaving, end the season like you're going to right now. She
run after him
and go after him. She could be saying, if Greg leaves, I want book my ticket home. She's basically throwing a tantrum to say, basically, producers, get him back and make sure that he stays so that I can do what I wanted to do. It's my season. I had heard that she was difficult, so maybe this is part of that.
Maybe that's why they're doing her so dirty, because they're just like, you're difficult and you're basic and the ratings have dropped. All right. We're not going to go and get Greg. You're going to cry in the bathroom and have Caitlin come and comfort you.
Right.
Okay, Debbie says her number 1 pick quit and she married her number 2 and they have 2 kids. Absolutely. I mean, you make the best of a situation. I can see her being embarrassed though, because it's like
back to back men dropping out.
Definitely. It's kind of like, ooh, like, if you thought he was going all the way and he's able to just leave like this, he's definitely wasn't that into you.
Right.
So something wasn't right. He was saying Greg decides to go clear his mind and go and talk to Katie, knocks on her door, and she's obviously surprised to see him. A lot of people knock on her door this season, and she's very surprised to see them. How are you? She's like, I don't know, not good. I'm good. I'm not sure. And this is where he talks about how she didn't acknowledge what he was saying, and she didn't give him what he needed. And he was like, I give you everything. And then he's like, I hope you find something special. And she's like, well, you were always my number 1. And And he's just like, that's not enough. Telling me that I'm your number. I've always been your number one, and then what? You're gonna go with your number two? Like, how do I know? And I understand that from his perspective as well. It's like you could say these words, but he didn't feel it from her, and that is, I don't think she gives that off to anybody, right? Like I think Blake is the most vibe she has, and even on their hometown date, I didn't see them in their kiss. I didn't see the vibe between them. So maybe she's just not good at giving off
emoting.
Yeah. Like
I can see that.
It's so clear usually if I'm into somebody and if somebody's into me, I'm like, oh yeah, I can tell. Like this is the way they look at me. I can tell that they're into me. Right?
Depends on the person. Sometimes I can't tell, but I know when I'm into somebody.
Trying to date you?
Yeah.
You know someone that's trying to date you is into you.
I don't know. I've already said me and men. I can't read men. They to me men are so confusing. So I'm not good with it.
And now her love story has Justin, who has barely spoken to, as her runner-up. I know it's bizarre.
I'm sure it's pissed her off.
And his family won't come and meet her. Like, this is supposed to be just like slapped in the face. Okay, if you love someone, fight for them. Exactly. If Dale said he was leaving Claire, would have lost her mind. Absolutely. If Zach said he was leaving Tasha, would have fought for him. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
I mean, she fought for Brendon. Like, she was like, stay. Like, why are you leaving? She talked to him numerous times, and he was like, nah, I can't do this. And it was absolutely clear that Brendon was not ready to get into a relationship with nobody.
Well, Piper. Greg left literally so quickly, he laughed my ass off. He went from, I love you to, I hope you find someone else in 24 hours.
That's hella funny.
It's true. So he leaves, and like I don't know how him and like Andrew S like knew how to poof and disappear, because she always goes out and she's just like, where is he? Where is he? And then like kind of goes like looking in rooms and like passing. This is the fourth wall being broken here.
Yeah.
And these men love the stairs, so she like runs down the stairs after him like she did for Andrew. I do feel like she had more conviction when she went and ran Andrew.
This is what I'm saying. I think like just the Andrew connection was there, but I think he just was too young. And then I don't see that she's really into black men personally.
I don't think she's into black men. I don't think that she saw herself with him, but she liked she liked their relationship.
Right.
Saw him at the end, and she didn't want to break his heart later, as I think that's why she let him go when she did.
Right.
But how she ran after him and she's like, I'm sorry, like I like and goes and hugs him, all this stuff. That she didn't even give that to Greg. Yeah.
She still wanted Andrew's adoration. She wanted him, to continue to worship her. That's why she was like, if I could and get you to stay a little while, would you stay a little while? And I think he realized it dawned on him in his head, I'm just going to go through this again in another week. What's the point?
Yep. Every time she uses game speak, Greg loses his shit. He just found out he's on a reality show and he's not pleased about it.
Yeah. Real. Like, I'm like, this is the show. What part of this is the show? Don't you... Like, I know some people, and it's the same thing with Love Island. I know some people come on the show and they've never watched the show. But if you go and audition for a show, or you go and somebody said, I put you in for the show, please do some research. Figure out what you're getting into. Don't sit there and tell me, no, I've never watched the show. I had no idea that's what happens in the show. Then you're a dumbass.
Yeah. Well, like, for instance, for Big Brother, they force you to watch at least one season before you go on the show, so you know what you're getting yourself into. If you're there.
Exactly. That makes the most sense.
Absolutely. So, whatever, she tries to comfort him or say something, and he's like, I'm not happy here anymore. And he's like, I'm done here. And she says, if you left, I was done. And he leaves, and she just lets him walk away. Like, if it's the love of your life is leaving, we just let him walk away. Like, I'd be like pulling on him, be like, no, look at me. Like, this is not happening. I'd be bawling my eyes off. I'd be like, look at me. Like, are you really gonna walk away from me? I have goosebumps for me reenacting what this is supposed to be like. Like, what is happening?
No, seriously, I would D-Mike. I'd be like, cut the camera. I'd be like, No.
Listen, this is me. This is raw me. There's no cameras here. There's no nothing. Like,
Right.
just talk to me. I want you to be here. I don't want you to go. What can I
Right.
do? This is us. Whatever. Like,
Right.
something. Just like let him walk and be like, I can't.
That's what I'm telling you. The entire thing. But I think we're starting to clear it up. The entire thing was confusing because I was like, oh, it's not him. It is Blake. And then it was like, well, maybe it is him.
I don't know who it is still. I actually don't know who it is because she didn't even tell Caitlin. So she goes to her room and starts crying in her room. And I don't know if you caught this, but Justin's painting was like in the shot as they go to the bathroom room. They just see like Justin's big, like the flower painting that he just recently had for her. And I was like, why are they showing the Justin painting while they're just talking about Greg and Katie? But anyways, I thought it was a little bit of shade.
I was gonna say, shady producers.
And so she's in the bathroom, she's crying. Eventually, Caitlin comes. She's like, Katie, it's Caitlin. And she's like, what questions do you have for me?
Yeah. I will say the one thing about this season, I do not miss Chris Harrison. I think that having Caitlin and Tayshia have been a world of difference in going through the bullshit emotions that the show brings. And just being there for Katie, because I actually think this conversation between Caitlin and Katie was really, really good. Because yes, she came at her like, "What do you want?" But Caitlin was like, "Yeah," she's like, "I'm just here. I don't want anything from you." Which I don't think having a producer talk to her or having a Chris Harrison talk to her would have been as good.
If it was Chris Harrison, though, I don't think she would be having this temper tantrum, to be honest. I think that she would have been more embarrassed to do it. And I think that he would have, maybe with Katie's particularly, she wouldn't be acting that way in front of him. That's my opinion. But I am appreciative of her allowing, like, Caitlin coming in there and talking. And Luigi saying, I think that Caitlin Bristow is literally the only human who could have convinced Katie to keep making the show like her personal franchise hero. I don't think that she would have done it to Chris Harrison because I think that he would have instilled a little bit more fear. Like, it just, like
when he said to Claire, thanks, you blew up the Bachelorette.
That, but like he's just kind of more like a father or more like somebody you don't want to disappoint, and he is a producer of the show, and so I think that him being like her boss, she would be less likely to be acting this way with her boss. And Caitlin and Tayshia are more like her buds or her mentors or her friends, and so I don't feel as though she was as she had anybody reining her in. She was just kind of off to do whatever she wanted. And I do think that they needed somebody to keep her under control, because that's why I think another reason why her season's off the wall. So not necessarily that it's Chris Harrison, but she needed somebody that she pointing as well that was kind of ushering her through the season. My thoughts.
I can see that.
Yeah, Katie was so rude. I was just like, oh, Caitlin, just leave. Let her sob by herself. Apparently DM'd Caitlin 5 years ago. I can imagine that.
Yeah. Like I said, she's supposedly a super fan of The Bachelor, Bachelorette. And I just, again, I think it's all been just like a planned out thing that she's accused all these other men on her season of doing that she did. So maybe that's why she can recognize it. I don't know, but I definitely see where you're going with she needed somebody to basically keep their foot in her ass so that she would toe the line. But again, seeing as she didn't have that, which makes it even worse, that why didn't she just break the fourth wall and go after him? There was no Chris Harrison like that was there to try to stop Claire. She did not have that. She didn't have to worry about that. So why not break the fourth wall and go after what you want if he was the one you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, I think that she just needed somebody that was less of a friend, more of somebody that was like, she kind of had to ask permission to do certain things, that she had to be like, oh, I don't know if they would be happy if I did that. I think that she just had too much of a free-for-all. And with her free-for-all, she messed it all up, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So also they used to have someone to cancel the cocktail parties instead of making Katie do it. Absolutely. But yes, fuck Chris Harrison.
Yeah, I agree.
It just needs somebody, I do think, to just.
I this is my thing, and it just may be that. So I used to watch The Bachelor for many years, and The Bachelorette, and then I stopped at a certain point. I think it was Jake. It's Jake Pavelka. He's a doctor, right?
Doctor? Sorry, what?
Jake. I think it was he a doctor? Whichever one was the doctor.
Jake Pavelka? No, he's a pilot.
No, then it's
Doctor.
not him.
Oh, the Travis Stork.
That one. I think I stopped around that time.
That's like season 3.
No, then it's not that. It has to be later on. But I stopped because they had this really cute guy who was a black guy, and they refused to make him the Bachelor. He was rich. He had a good career, and they absolutely refused. They showed his whole package, and they absolutely refused to cast him on the Bachelor. They picked somebody else, and it was a terrible season. Anyway, at the end of the day, from watching Chris Harrison then to now watching some of these later seasons and seeing how he is, he needed to go. I don't feel like he is effective in this show anymore because I feel like he's slightly just done with it. Like he was there were some parts where I'm like, yeah, no, this conversation is not a good conversation.
For sure. Like he's definitely hasn't progressed into the sign of the times, but
Yeah.
I do think that there needed to be somebody that regulated her behavior.
Yeah. So I don't know where they can get they need something like that where it's like a combination.
They need a producer that is a host.
Yeah.
Basically. Somebody that can fire her if they want to, so she can be scared she's going to lose her job.
Right.
Somebody can tell her, like, no, this is not what you're going to be doing. You're going to be doing something else. No, you're going to figure out a way to do this. She needed somebody to really steer her into creating a decent season instead of allowing her to do whatever she wants.
Mm-hmm.
So just lastly, just to get rid of this, to finish this episode. So Katie finally lets Caitlin in and she hugs them. She says, today I officially lost Greg. She doesn't think that there's anything that she could do to get him back. I'm like, really? Like, you don't know how to get this guy that you're in love with back, or like you like
just
back?
go tell him that you love him. I'm so confused. Keep going.
And so all she wants is someone to book her flight home. It's like, okay, so you can go cry about it. Like, I just don't get it. Like, he's not that far. Like, go show up at his fucking hotel room door. Like, what? Like, everybody else shows up at your door. You go show up at his door and be like, listen, like, I don't know what else I can say is that I don't want you to leave. I don't want our experience to be over. It's you. I'll leave the show for you to show you that it has nothing to do with the show. I want to be with you. She can do that. And as you can say, she can do that in her jeans, and they can film it, and that could be end of her damn season. Like, she just
all she had to do was go tell, just like Claire did with Dale and Chris Harrison. All she did was tell Chris to go get Dale for her, and then he came in and said, everything's canceled, and Dale, can I see you? And walked into her. And that's all she had to do to Caitlin. Like, he's the one I want. Go get him. We need to figure this out because he can't leave. And that's all she had to do.
And so that was the end of the episode. Then we see a Greg montage, like he's like he passed
like
away.
He died.
His best moments, like it's like you were at the Oscars, and it's like in memorandum. Like,
I was like, why are they doing this? He's not dead.
It's like slow motion, like seeing him like just all the different things and him smiling, looking at I'm like, really, you're giving him this like as if we have literally buried him. Like, that was insane to me. I thought it was funny because like we know that he's still alive and well. Hold on, Vivian has a question. So does Katie have anything to feel ashamed for this season?
Yeah, no, she has not handled this season well. Like, some of the stuff that she's done, and then the stuff she's done outside of the season on social media, I am not a fan, but I was never a fan, and this didn't make me did not endear me to her in any way, and it made it worse. Like, I'm like, everything that I thought about her coming into the season, it's her but worse. And I just like her men. Like, her men were good. Like, even the ones that were not there for the right reasons, like, I don't have a problem with them. Like, she just wasn't it for them. And I feel like if you're there and the person that you are like, okay, so this is the lead and she not it for me, so I gotta just take this to where I can take it. I can't really fault them at this point.
Well, like, Thomas is just like, at least I was giving her good kisses. Like, and then she had to treat me this way. Like, she was hopping up on my lap and I was kissing her. I was making her feel good. And then she had to go and push me down like that. Like, she should have taken him to the final four. Like, at least he would have stayed. He would have stayed because he would have been able to, like, I don't know. He would have been able to get down on what
Play it off. Yeah.
I think he would have done it. So, anyways, thank you so much, Tamika, for hanging out with me here. It went longer than I was anticipating, but, you know, the rage that comes up. Thank you, BB. Thank you, Luigi, Cassandra, Natalie, and anybody else I might have missed that's in the chat with us today. You made it a lot more enjoyable, Sophie, than it would have been than just thinking about how infuriating this entire episode was and season. Tamika, do you want to share what you have going on?
So I, for those who don't know and haven't watched Love Island recaps with us, you can follow me at Entertainment in Color on all social media. I use that as a platform to promote the projects of people of color in entertainment. So Michelle's season of The Bachelor, I've been promoting. There's going to be some new fall shows that I'll be promoting. And I just like putting that information out there so that more people know about projects coming out that they could be more interested in or see themselves in.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here, Tamika, stepping in for Tanya. Love having your perspective, especially when it's the same as mine. It's helpful. And you guys know the drill, but please subscribe. Come be part of the community. Come join us in the chat. Join Tamika and I tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be talking about the Paramount Plus episode, exclusive episode number 4 of Love Island. And yeah, that's pretty much all we have to say today. Thanks, guys.
Bye.